Show and Doc Tales with our host, Alan Lindeman, Royal Doc. Alan Lindeman, Doc, what's going on, man? How are you? I know you're excited about our guest.
Yeah, we're doing really well here, Neil, and glad you're here, Rob. Nice to see you.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
All right. So go ahead, Doc, for your first question.
Well, I've been to your site, and of course, I right away I see the picture of you and Arnold, and I figured Arnold was pretty big, but you're bigger, so congratulations. I
Yeah,
also,
thank you. Thank you. A fun opportunity. Arnold sponsors a annual wellness health event called the Arnold Classic, which features, not surprisingly, bodybuilding and powerlifters, but all kinds of other physical feats of skill. There's about 10,000 athletes that compete in this. And about 1% of this event is continuing education. So that's where I attended, and of course, there's a photo op with Arnold. Who can pass that up?
All right. So tell me specifically enough what you're talking about in the world of chiropractic. Is that pretty much what you like? What's new? What's happening there? There's a lot of new technology and everything coming out.
Well, certainly, no one practitioner is a master of it all or has a handle on everything. So certainly there may be some things that you're thinking of that I'm myself not even maybe a master at, but certainly there are some areas, some sets, niches within the profession I do feel particular passion for, and that is in the upper cervical neck, the top bone in the spine. You might have also seen that, Dr. Lindeman, as a background in my LinkedIn profile. I use the Atlas anatomical image, and that's a specialty in a very kind of a very special area of anatomy. Obviously, I'm sure any medical doctor can understand the importance of the neurology going through the brainstem area at the very top. So it takes quite a bit of precision, and it has quite a profound effect on the quite a variety of symptoms in the human body. So it's an area that most chiropractors adjust the neck, but maybe not with the skill, precision, and kind of methodology that somebody like myself might use.
I can see you've had a lot of training in it. You spent a lot of time on the upper back, and I did look at your diagrams, which of course illustrate your point quite nicely. So I'd say congratulations. One of the things I picked up was babies. You're talking about neck problems that go back to birth. Any particular, do you have, I mean, what percentage of your practice is children?
Um, Good question. I'll have to go and do some statistical analysis. And we've got a pretty mature practice. We've been in practice since '99, so it's mostly referral based at this point. And um, so now we're seeing like third, fourth generations. So we it's not uncommon. We'll start with a mom, and then she'll bring in her kids, and then the kids grow up, they get married, and then they bring in their kids, and now we're starting to see their kids. So it's kind of a fun evolution. We've gotten to this point in our practice where now we see multiple generations. So my I practice with my wife as well. She's also a chiropractor, Dr. Sherry Bohr, and she probably sees more of the newborns than I do. I think she has a nicer connection being a mom herself, and just having that innate intuitive kind of understanding of what a mother needs, what the child needs, maybe a little bit more than us men, but still I see my fair share. My youngest patient was 2 weeks old, so my wife's youngest patient was about 1 day old. So
Wow. I see. I wouldn't think that. And that's based on early childhood ways that they see that there's a referral coming, right? Because I used to be a developmental therapist, birth to three, long ions ago when I started becoming a teacher and I remember directly that if you spot certain things early, then you go to the OT. So OT and PT. Is PT get the referral to go to a chiropractor then, sounds like?
What
well
kind I'm
I
sorry.
mean, sorry to jump in. I mean, just, a chiropractor is a primary care physician, so there is no referral needed. You can walk right into a chiropractor's office. You can use, most insurances do cover chiropractic. For a child, as we all know, insurance is a bit of a racket and a bit of a game. So if you don't have the right symptoms, you can't use your insurance. So for most childhood illnesses, you can't really use insurance because they say, well, there's no research for that, which, is valid. That doesn't mean we don't see these young patients because the moms know, so, I mean, probably the most frequent things we see are a colicky baby, so constant crying. So what this young patient can't tell you is why they hurt and where they hurt. So that's what colic is just discomfort, unhappiness, continuous displeasure, keeping everyone up at night. So often this is, Dr. Lindemann, you might understand some of the complexity of this due to the delivery process. And I think partly due to the, complications that might arise during delivery, or also the skill of the delivering, obstetrician. So I think there's a lot of variables there that can lead to certain spinal issues that is something that we look for and then address in the newborn patient.
Well, you answered my question. I was going to ask you what kind of symptoms did your 2-week-old have, but you told me. And this is important for me because I do a lot of writing and a lot of talking, and what I do is directed toward young moms and dads. So now I have another piece of not ammunition, but another
Yeah,
option to talk about with them.
Yeah, no, it's great. The more years you're in practice, the more kind of data you accumulate, both on personal experience, journals read, and other colleagues that you talk to. So I really enjoy, this collaboration where we can, kind of, things that you might not see in your practice, that a chiropractor might, and then vice versa, of course. Symptom number two, interestingly, is nursing problems. I mean, latching on is an art in itself, but what we typically see is a child that maybe can latch no problem, but will only want to nurse on one breast. So what's that about? Has a lot to do with the pain again of the neck position. So nursing on one side is fine, but nursing on the other side is, the baby doesn't want any part of that. So that's another kind of classic one that is often a musculoskeletal mechanical problem in its origin as far as why that's happening.
Oh, wow.
That's your second pearl here today. So now I have another thing I can talk with moms and dads about. And I
Yeah.
never have thought of that. I mean, certainly there's a lot of moms that nurse on one breast. As a matter of fact, I know a friend of mine nursed on one breast once a day for 3 years. So it's the very, many choices, many options.
Right. I mean, of course, it can be personal preference, but yeah, I mean, if there is an issue with, trying the other side, then, it can be a mechanical problem, which the beauty is that rarely does it take much effort to resolve. I mean, when you've only had a problem for a week or two or a month, those problems clear up fast. And, anything that you're dealing with a young patient of that age, of course, the healing is at light speed, right? So it's just when you get to our broken down ages that healing takes more time. It takes more visits. It's a little bit more chronic usually. Usually it's something that we've been living with for years or decades that will take time to resolve. But the baby, boy, I'll tell you, 1 or 2 visits, and rarely do we see that baby more than a visit or two.
Wow. Yeah, so your wife and you have the same practice together?
We do. We practice in the same building, and yeah, we've been practicing together for over 20 years.
Oh,
And you're still
fantastic.
married.
Yeah.
So like what would you say, especially what area are you located in, and where would like people the best why come see you as a specialist versus another chiropractor?
Yeah, well, we're in Southeast Michigan. We're just west of Detroit, just south of Ann Arbor, which is maybe a large area that people can spot pretty easily in Michigan. Why? I guess, uh, boy, I don't. trying to think of how to brag about myself, but
You got to learn to brag about yourself.
yeah, yeah,
Unless
yeah.
you're just too full, right?
I mean, I always, go back to the old, I forget who it was that did that study on, what it takes to be a master at something, right? Like something like 10,000 hours. I did the math once and I tried to calculate how many times I've adjusted the atlas bone, and it came in at over 100,000 times in my 20 plus years. So, you know, I I put a lot of stock in experience and experienced doctors. So I mean at this point I think I've earned my stripes, and and that comes with a great deal of confidence, a great deal of judgment, a great deal of clinical decision making that's only earned with years and years and years of being in the trenches and seeing patients every week of those 20 plus years. So um, I think if somebody wants to know if their situation's on track, if they're in a situation that's appropriate for chiropractic, if having been under chiropractic care for a period of time, they feel they've made the right progress. I mean, we do quite a bit of effort in tracking progress, in determining every visit if we're on track or not. We don't just kind of ballpark it or thumbnail it. We are like, yeah, we do hold our feet to the fire. So I think if somebody wants a great deal of confidence in the care they're receiving, and sometimes we do refer, to the orthopedic and the neurologist, and we're like, I think you need an MRI is sometimes the answer. This is not going to respond the way you're hoping it is, and you might need more invasive, intervention to get this problem resolved. And that's sometimes the answer they have to get. Of course, we hope they have happier news, but to have that level of confidence and security in the care you're receiving, I think there is something to be said about experience.
Okay. Where is the best place people can find info on you?
Well, our office is Bohr Family Chiropractic, and we are in Saline, Michigan. Our website is bohrerchiro.com. That's our last name is BORERCHIRO.com. And of course, 734-944-7200 will get you to one of our lovely staff at the front desk, and they can definitely help you with scheduling.
Excellent. Fantastic,
Thank you,
Doc.
Kyle.
One more question. All right. Awesome. That was a special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show and Doc Taylor.